Hello, hello, hello. It is Catalyst Echo here from Catalyst Echo Designs coming at you with another Zuri Design Team video. And today, the purpose of today's video is to show you how to colorize a couple of different ways that you could use Zuri stamps to colorize. Now, you all know me, I'm primarily a resin artist in the group, but I have done this technique on a number of occasions before with other stamps. And I thought I've been wanting to do the challenge because Zuri stamps are so detailed. I've been wanting to do this challenge of colorizing Zuri stamps with hand painting and or brush marker design. So I thought I would challenge myself to do that, and I'm sharing it with you. And stay tuned till the end of the video because I'm going to tell you a bunch of things that I learned throughout the process of creating this video, which will hopefully help you in your future endeavors. Plus, if you like this idea, I challenge you to do it yourself. Get a Zuri stamp, bring it on over to the Design with Zuri Facebook group and show me what you've done. I'd love to see it. So anyway, there's a lot of different reasons why you might want to use a stamp as sort of an image, a drawing, for lack of a better word, for your hand painting and or hand colorizing projects. One thing, the number one reason, at least the number one reason for me, is consistency. So say I want to do a repeating motif on a project, and I want the project to, say I have two sides of a nightstand or something of that nature, and I want to put a wolf on two sides of a nightstand, but I don't want to take the chance that I'm going to draw it totally differently on each side because you can't see the other side while you're working on one side. So consistency is a really great reason to use something like a stamp in order to create your design. But maybe you can't draw too. That's another great reason. I mean, there's nothing that says that you have to be able to draw in order to be an artist. And maybe you can't draw. These designs come to you fully well drawn and ready to go. And that's kind of great. Maybe you love the design and there's no reason not to. The Zuri Designs stamps are fabulous. They're as beautiful as the molds. They're as detailed as the molds. And they're stunning, really, truly stunning. Maybe you want something for stress relief. Believe me, in this world that we live in today, having fine detail coloring for stress relief is not only a well-documented way of relieving stress, but it's also really fun. And then you have something cool when you're done. And I think that's great. And the final thing is, oftentimes with the stuff that I create, at least, I can't do a project with a kid. Like, say I wanted to have a little fun craft day with one of my nieces or nephews, or do some sort of a fun craft day with one of my friends' kids. Resin isn't the kind of thing that you can really do. Hand painting furniture isn't the kind of thing that a kid is going to be really into. You know what I mean? But this is kind of right up their alley. So you can get all the tools and have a great project that you can share with your children. And I think that that's just a lot of super fun reasons why this might be something that you might want to do. So here I am. I've been prepping this canvas for quite some time. I believe that we went through already the process of using the stamp kind of as a guide, and then I painted it dark. And I had a couple of ideas for how I was going to do this at first. One of the first idea was that I was going to start dark and work my way up with light, but that didn't work out quite as planned, and so I came up with a new plan. And as you can see here, I am changing the canvas a little bit so that the stamp is bright, or the background is bright, and I'm going to stamp on now the color. So I'm using paint as my medium for the stamp. And one of the things that I learned, I did tell you that I would tell you some things that I learned. One of the things that I learned, typically speaking, when I use stamps, I actually like a more grungy sort of stamped look. I prefer that aesthetically. But with how detailed the Zuri Design stamps are, I do recommend getting an ink pad and a ruler and using that instead, because I missed out on a lot of fine detail, which I did bring in myself through looking at the stamp while I was coloring, not on this piece, but on another one that you'll see towards the end. But I think it would have been a lot easier, though, just to come in with a nice, clean line. And that's typically not what I go for, but I think that if I were to do this project again in the future, I would definitely make sure I had a roller and stamping pad handy. Like I said before, I do typically use paint for that sort of thing. So this is just an aesthetic thing. It's just what I prefer. I prefer stamps to look like they've been stamped on. It's just, I've got that grungy 90s aesthetic, and it's just kind of the way I like things. But for the purposes of the Zuri stamps, I do recommend a brush and a stamp pad. So here we are in here, and I'm colorizing with very watered down paint, the same paint I used to apply the stamp to the canvas in the first place. And I have a little thing of water next to me that I'm going in there, and I'm kind of reactivating some of the paint from the stamp, and I'm also bringing in my own sort of line work. For that, how you get the very even, like, strokey whooshes is you want to load up your paint with your paintbrush with some, like, more paint than you might think you might want to use, because you want to have enough to make it all the way to the end of the swoosh. That's the little tick and trick I have there. And I have switched at this point to bring in some of the finer details. I have switched to Tombo's brush markers. These are fantastic. You can kind of see them there beside me. These are fantastic. They're using the grayscale ones for this project, and for another project soon, you will see the colorized versions. And as you can see, I'm just bringing back some of the details. And this piece started out pretty strong. I quite liked it. The monotone version of this, before I make a mistake, and you'll see it soon if we're getting to where I make a mistake. But for now, it's going well, and I just loved that this was I was having so much fun just bringing in the details and seeing them come to life. Like, it was just so beautiful. Like, and the details of this particular stamp are just so incredible. There's all these little fine peacock feathers, and then the fur of the wolf is very feather-like. And it has a very sort of tribal bohemian aesthetic, which is one I like quite well. What I'm doing here is, you can see this is a blending marker. So I'm kind of just blending things in, bringing in shadows and tonal range, which is one of the reasons why I love those Tombow brush markers so much, is that you can use this clear marker to do some shading and highlights and things of that nature. And if you want to blend two colors to each other, the clear marker that they provide with most of their kits is just chef's kiss. Like, it's wonderful. And definitely I do recommend having something like a blending tool for any of these sorts of fine detail kind of coloring adventures. It really does help. I'm not, like I said, one for sharp lines and stark divisions between colors. I like things to blend together. But you might be one for sharp lines and stark divisions between colors, and that's fine too. Everybody has their own aesthetic. So now I'm coming in with some, like, blue paint to bring out some of the stones and the details and his eyes. I went in there. It's like a blue color shift paint that I quite like. You can kind of see it's adding a little bit of extra dimension, kind of tying it into the background a bit. And I really liked where I was headed right here. And I was very excited about it. And I was looking at it, and I was like, okay, cool. This is coming out so well. Everything's coming up roses. And then I make a mistake. But I decided to share it with you because I did want to let you guys know that not everything works out. And that's okay. So what happened was this. I wanted to see if I could get, I like this like chaotic watercolor vibe thing. And I wanted to see if I could get that. So I used a mister, and I misted. And unfortunately, I didn't really love the way it turned out. But live and learn. It started strong. So now I decided to redeem myself. And I pulled out a bamboo cutting board. I have a bunch of these that I got from somewhere, possibly Dollar Tree, several years ago. And I've used them a lot in my Zuri projects. They were a really good purchase. But so I did the exact same thing. I used paint in order to do the stamp. And now I'm coming in with my color Tombow brush markers. And I had first thought to just stick to like a blue and purple color scheme, because I'm kind of known for that. But as I was doing this design, it occurred to me that this wolf was so beautiful and just so vibrant and colorful that it needed a full-on rainbow. Plus, we did have these beautiful peacock feathers mixed in with his fur, and I wanted to do them justice. So I'm coming in there with some yellows and some greens just to bring out some of these feathery details. And one thing I really liked about this, about working on the bamboo cutting board as opposed to the canvas, is I really did get a lot more of the details with the original stamp, which was very, very nice. I think it would have been even better if I had used a roller and a stamping pad, but I did get a lot of the details. And also it was very easy to pull in the color, to control the color. And so I do recommend a harder, firmer surface if you are going to attempt this project. I hope you do. I would love to see what you do in the Design with Zuri group. It really would make me quite happy if someone showed me up with this and did something that was just absolutely out of this world stunning. But so here we are, and we're going in, bringing in some tonal range. We're bringing in some shadows and some blending with the color version of the blending brush. And I'm using a lot of blues to blend in with the yellows and with the purples and pinks. I just really thought that this piece called for color. Ooh, my voice is a little bit labored today, so I apologize for that. But I do hope that you are able to understand me and that everything is wonderful. I loved the sort of stripiness of this. For those of you who follow my work, or have followed my work for a while, I do a lot with stripes. I don't know why, I'm just really drawn to stripiness. I'm drawn to like harlequin patterns and stripiness, and this stamp has all these beautiful sort of striped aspects to it. So, we've got the feathery fur that's very stripy, and then we've got these stripinesses on his face. I just really like this stamp quite a bit. All these very beautiful details. It's amazing to me that something so stunning is a stamp. And that's why this is such a great project to do with like kids, or if you just need a stress relief, because having something so beautiful when you're done, and the creative freedom that you have to colorize this in any way that you choose, but also sort of knowing that you're going to get something wonderful because the first drawing, i.e. the stamp, is so beautiful. It's a very nice, very calming experience. So yeah, I'm just pulling in more color. And one thing I do recommend if you're not very good with like markers or colors or paints or whatever, is start with the midtone and then bring in start with the midtone, do the midtone, leave the highlight alone, go in and bring in the darks, and then use, the highlight in order to blend it together. That's just a quick little marker and paint tip for you, a color tip, as it were. And you do want to stick to things within the same color family, like how I'm using blue with the yellow and then greens to kind of blend. That's, blue and yellow make green, so green is a great blender for blue and yellow together. And you do want to kind of do what you can. Like, you don't necessarily want to put yellow next. You don't necessarily want to blend purple with yellow. You'd rather blend purple with something that is either blue or, red, because blue and red make purple. There's a couple of little tips from me to you while we're sitting here watching me do this. But obviously you'll have your own techniques. Like, you don't have to use color theory. You can do whatever you want. That's the best thing about creating. I apologize for that cough. I'm not, like I said before, I'm not feeling especially well today. So please bear with me. And I hope that did not weird anyone out. And yeah, so we're going in there with some more fine details. And we're just kind of bringing in and getting the final color in. So at this point, I'd like to remind you that the Facebook group Design with Zuri is there for you to share all of your creations. I'd love to see if you do anything like this. I'd love to see your projects. And I just want to hope you're having a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I will see you next time, and bye.